It is a crisp, fall day in Edmonton. They like to call it Eskimo weather. This is Edmonton's 15th year at Commonwealth Stadium, and the Eskimos are in danger of doing something they've never done here: lose 3 straight games at home. It's the Ticats and the Eskimos coming up in a little while on TSN. But coming up next, it's the CFL Report, and we'll look at this matchup, which always seems to lead to an exciting finish.
37 seconds left on the clock. Ham needs a first down. Looking for Williams down the sideline. He's in behind the cover. He makes the catch. He'll score the touchdown.
The CFL Report on TSN is brought to you by Pepsi. Gotta have it. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Commonwealth Stadium. Well, if you're here tonight, you've got to have your Woolies. It is cool. They do like to call this Eskimo weather, but right now, Edmonton has some major concerns. A 2-game losing streak that has bumped the Eskimos out of top spot. They won't get much sympathy from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, though. The Ticats are in the same predicament. Coming up later on the show, we'll have a look at the Rocket on the CFL Insider. As well, we'll have our traditional TSN CFL Plays of the Week. First of all, the lineup changes for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And these are not good news for a team that has lost 2 straight. Earl Winfield remains out with an ankle injury, so Lonzel Hill makes his CFL debut. And also making his CFL debut is on defense, Roy Hart. Mark Hall is not in the lineup. Some good news for the Ticats, though. Pete Giftopoulos returns to the lineup, but only as a backup linebacker. Well, when you look at these two teams, you look at their quarterbacks, Damon Allen and Tracy Ham, the former teammates who have both struggled in recent weeks. Ham is the man for Edmonton, but Allen is critical to the success of the Ticats. When your quarterback goes bad, the offense tends to go with him. Early in the season, Hamilton's Damon Allen was on fire. He and Earl Winfield were the best 1-2 punch in the CFL. But in the last 2 weeks, Damon Allen has not been the same quarterback. 2 weeks ago against Ottawa, Allen was good on just 15 of 35 passes for only 222 yards. Last week, in the return match at Ivor Stadium, Allen was just 1 of 10 for 8 yards and 1 interception. To make matters worse, his favorite target, Earl Winfield, injured his ankle 2 weeks ago. He didn't play last week and won't play tonight. That puts even more pressure on Allen, who has proved before that he is a winner. Tonight, the Ticats look to get back on the winning track, and to do so, they need Damon Allen to be at his best. With us now is Hamilton quarterback Damon Allen. Damon, when your team is on a losing streak, do you put more pressure on yourself to try to get them out of it?
I guess you try not to, but the thing we have to do is go out there and just do the things that we're capable on offense and defense, and play a little bit smarter. We're going to continue to play hard, but hopefully the luck will come our way this time around.
At the start of the season, this team talked about making the playoffs. Now you're in a race for first place. Has it been difficult to keep the high expectations of this team? Because really, if you make the playoffs, it's a major gain from last year.
Well, mainly, our goal is to make the playoffs, but the way we've been playing over the last 10 games and our last two ball games, we're in a pretty good situation for ourselves, and I think we can control it if we, we start to play a little better. Especially this week, if we can play a little bit better, we can easily control home field advantage. And the way teams are playing at home and playing a little bit better than on the road, that that's one of our goals, is to have home field advantage. And I think every team in the league is shooting for that.
You played here as a member of the Eskimos. You know what they're like after they've lost a couple straight. How difficult is this going to be tonight?
Well, it's going to be difficult because we're playing at the Eskimos, and they're very good at home. And the thing we have to do is just go out there and attack and play football, but play smart football. In this league, any team can get beat right now. We lost at home, and the thing is, we have to go out there and get our stuff together on offense and defense and special teams, and hopefully we can steal one out of Edmonton.
Damon, welcome back to your old playground. Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot, Gord.
Damon Allen, the quarterback of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And for more on tonight's game, let's go to John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
All right, Gord, Damon Allen is the Tiger Cats' leading rusher. He had a good week in spite of a loss to the Edmonton Eskimos in Week 6 in the CFL. So the question, Leaf, is what do the Eskimos do to control Damon Allen tonight?
Well, it's a very difficult task, John. I think the most difficult aspect of it is to try and control the impromptu running that Damon Allen is so good at. And I'm going to show you one of the earlier games this year where Edmonton played in Hamilton, and something that they did very well against Damon Allen. Now, it's going to be a sprint out this way. And watch, Benny Goods is here. He's going to go down. They're running a bit of a stunt with Lloyd Lewis and Benny Goods. Now, Lewis will come out here. Now, his sole responsibility is to make sure Damon Allen doesn't get out here. Keep him in this area here. Now, let's let it run. We're going to freeze it at some point. But the biggest problem with a running quarterback is when he breaks containment, and now the impromptu running starts. Okay, stop it right there. Okay, here's Lewis. Now, he sees Allen pull up. So now his job is to say, hey, he is not getting outside that imaginary line. I know I'm going to get help here. You got people coming here. That's exactly what you want to do to Damon Allen. That's how you control him. Now, Lloyd Lewis is going to make a heck of a play. He beats 2 blocks and eventually gets the sack. But the key here is discipline. Discipline from the pass rushers. The fact that you don't let Damon Allen get to the outside, and that's the only way you can control those impromptu runs.
Yeah, sometimes easier said than done, but Allen is back where he began his pro career in 1985 and looking to get back on track after a tough outing last week. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, fellas. Coming up next on the CFL Report, the Rocket has gone stealth. What happened to the Grey Cup MVP? We'll look at that and more when we return to Commonwealth Stadium and the CFL Report in just a moment here on TSN.
Rockets fuel.
Welcome back to Edmonton and the CFL Report. Last year, he was the Grey Cup's most valuable player, and the Argos felt they got their money's worth from the Rocket. But now the man who makes $220,000 a game has been invisible. This week on the CFL Insider, what's happened to the Rocket?
When Raghib the Rocket Ismail landed in Toronto, it was with all the fanfare of a visiting monarch. He was the reigning king of American college football.
As far as money was concerned, either way, I wouldn't have turned out bad. That wasn't, and I tried to let people know that there were going to be other things that were going to go along with it.
He lived up to expectations in his first season, topping the league in combined yardage, being named the Eastern Division's most outstanding rookie, and of course, leading the Argonauts to a Grey Cup win while being named the game's MVP.
Raghib Ismail just, if anybody had any doubts, he erased those today.
But that was then, and this season has been a different story. A year ago, he was the CFL's 5th most productive receiver. This year, he is 33rd. In 1991, he returned 3 kicks for touchdowns. This year, he's yet to return 1. But despite the poor statistics, Argo management has chosen to put most of the blame on the rest of the team, and not the young millionaire.
We're not getting the ball to him. We have to get the ball, an athlete of that caliber, you have to get the ball in his hands.
He got held twice and never got a PI call. Generally, you get those called, but hopefully, things like that even out.
He's got 11 guys out there that are supposed to be getting him the yardage. It's not just the way he's running football. The way he's running football does not concern me at all.
Even if the Rocket has impressed his bosses, he has not impressed the Toronto fans. Attendance at the Skydome is actually down this year from last. Perhaps one reason he has not become more of a drawing card this year is his apparent aversion to the media. Twice we brought our cameras to Argonaut practice to interview the Rocket for this story, and both times he refused to talk to us. But while the media won't pay him for his time, Pepsi Cola will. He acts as a soda salesman in commercials, and fronts a Pepsi nonprofit organization aimed at helping youngsters avoid substance abuse.
His character and personality is just outstanding. He's done a lot of great things for the community, for kids in general, and is a great role model. And we felt as we talked to him and we got to know him better, he really epitomized what Pepsi is all about and what we feel we stand for. And he felt the same way as we talked.
But unfortunately for Pepsi, Rocket's value as a role model, like his play on the field and appeal at the box office, has declined. 2 weeks ago, he completely lost his self-control in a game against Calgary.
Rocket came to his defense. He was on the ground with this guy on top of him. Rocket came over and tried to defend him.
If he would have backed off and ran into the locker room, he would have lost a lot of respect, too. So he was caught between a rock and a hard spot.
Although Pepsi Vice President Steve Davis admitted he was concerned about the effect the incident would have on the Rockets' reputation, he said the cola company was still loyal to its spokesman.
I think the exciting thing to me, though, was his response the next day on the Speaker's Corner, where he, on his own, went in and taped a message to the City of Toronto where he acknowledged that he had made a mistake.
I'm just saying.
The apology appeared on a local Toronto television station shortly after the game.
And for any of those young people out there, little guys who always come up to me saying they want to be like the Rocket, I'm just here telling you that that is not the way to go about being like me. That was just a situation I got caught up in that I had no business getting caught up in.
Although the gesture satisfied his corporate sponsor, Ismail will need more than words to impress his new boss.
People that play for me are going to have to understand what the term discipline really means. I mean, basically I have one rule for them, and I told them, hey, I want you to act like a professional.
So far, 1992 has been a year to forget for the highest paid player in the CFL. But the season is far from over, and he still has plenty of time to regain the glory of his rookie season.
Well, let's go over it briefly here. Leaf, how do you see it? What has happened to the Rockets so far in 1992? What's changed?
Well, you know, John, I think what bothers me as much as anything is his really unprofessional attitude towards being a superstar. I mean, you know, maybe he doesn't want to be, but that's the fact of life. He is. I mean, Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, Mario Lemieux, guys like that before him at a young age have been able to handle the pressures of media attention perfectly. And quite frankly, to say Rocket's immature, well, so what? Too bad. I mean, I think he's handled it poorly, but that bothers me. But I think the thing that bothers me the most is his attitude towards his job. I mean, I know he's late for practices, he's been late for meetings, and he's been unprofessional in his attitude as a player to try and be a better receiver. I mean, I can tell you there's 10 wide receivers in the league that I would take before I took the Rocket. He simply hasn't worked hard at his trade, and it shows.
Argo management seems to be staying with the line. They have to get the ball to Rocket more frequently, and that in the past week has caused a little controversy in the dressing room.
Well, you're referring to an unnamed source in a Toronto column. Don't you love the unnamed source? You know, attach your name to it. They say, well, now all the teams are going to know we're tipping them off that we're going to get the ball to the Rocket more. Big deal. Come on. Hey, it works two ways, though. I agree the Rocket needs to get the ball more, but as a quarterback, the receivers have to get open, and he simply isn't disciplined enough in running his pass patterns to get open. So to say we have to get him the ball more often is easier to say than to accomplish.
Did the fact that the Rocket did not blast off this year and some of the controversies surrounding the Argonaut offense cost Adam Rita his job?
I don't think it's fair to say that the Rocket cost Adam Rita his job. The entire team did. I mean, when you have a team full of stars that don't play up to their potential, obviously something is going to result from that, the firing of Adam Rita. And unfortunately for Adam, he probably was his own worst enemy by being loyal to too many players that maybe he shouldn't have been. Now, make no mistake, it's a wonderful human characteristic, a wonderful trait to have, but sometimes in a very unforgiving professional sport such as this, it's often not the best way to be, and I think that maybe was Adam's problem. If that's a problem, that was it.
No question about it. The outlook in Argoland was an awful lot brighter 1 year ago at this time when the Rocket was running and the Argos were flying. Let's join Gord Miller.
All right, thanks very much, guys. The Rocket has been the topic throughout the CFL recently, and not for reasons he would like. And his play on the field has been the subject of much discussion by opposition teams. And joining us now is Corus Irvin of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Let me get the player's perspective. What's the Rocket like as a receiver?
because he's fast and you know, he has good moves, good balance. As a receiver, he doesn't pose the pass pattern routes that a lot of other receivers pose. You know, he has a lot of speed, and a lot of people try to associate that with a receiver, but being a good receiver is not only having just speed, you got to have the moves as well, you know, and his pass pattern is not where it should be as a receiver.
You guys haven't had much problem with him at all. He's been almost a non-entity when he's played against you guys, and in fact against other teams too. Do you think people are onto the Rocket?
Well, the thing is, you know, he's a good guy once he has the ball in his hands. As far as covering him, if you can keep him in front of you and not let him get behind you, then, you know, you pose a good challenge to him.
All right, let's talk about the team you're going to face tonight, the Edmonton Eskimos. They, too, have a speedster and a guy that they've sort of converted into a wide receiver in Henry the Gizmo Williams. What kind of threat does he pose, say, as opposed to the Rocket?
Deep threat, just the same as the Rocket. You know, him and Rocket are somewhat similar. You know, he doesn't run good routes either, but he's a good receiver. You know, he catches the ball, and if you make you miss, then you know you have trouble on your hands for the defense is concerned.
Now, on the other side, you got Jim Sandusky, who's almost the opposite, a guy who runs great routes but doesn't seem to have that upfield speed. Is he a much different threat?
Well, yeah, well, he's a more possession-type receiver. He's not going to run away from you. The thing is, you just have to get up on him and challenge him and not let him have as much field to work, you know, his moves. If you can get up on him and challenge him and run with him, then, you know, you can take away what he wants to do as well.
All right, Corus, we'll let you get back in the dressing room, get bundled up. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Corus Irvin of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And when the CFL report returns, no down payment, no interest. The owner of the Brick buys the BC Lions. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where the fans are bundled up, getting set to watch the Eskimos play the Ticats in a game that will come your way in about 15 minutes here on TSN. And the fans are excited, and why not? Their team is in the race for first, although the Eskimos have fallen off a little bit. Let's take a look at the standings in the East Division. Ottawa and Hamilton are tied for top spot, but the Rough Riders, thanks to back-to-back wins over the Ticats, would get the nod if the season were to end tomorrow. Winnipeg leads Toronto by 4. It would have suddenly become a race for the final playoff spot in the East Division. In the West, it is Calgary leading Edmonton by a couple of points, and look at the Saskatchewan Rough Riders coming on strong in third and only 2 points behind the second-place Eskimos. The BC Lions still have slim playoff hopes. Their record stands at 3-8. And, of course, things are looking up in BC thanks to a new owner. In this city of Edmonton, about 15 years ago, the Brick Furniture chain began. It's owned by Bill Comrie, and Comrie is the man who's come to the rescue of the BC Lions.
It was a moment football fans in this country were starting to wonder if it would actually happen. After weeks of searching, the CFL finally introduced its new owner, Bill Comrie, and for a change, it was all smiles on the West Coast.
Well, I'm really excited. I mean, it's I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I want to make it fun for the fans when they come out. I want them to have fun, and we got to put fun back in the game. We're in the entertainment business, and we've got to entertain them to make them want to come back.
The rest of the story was played out quietly at the back of the press conference. Lawyer Ron Perrick, representing Millen Ilitch of Vancouver, was on hand, also trying to buy the team.
We were prepared to do the deal, and we're still prepared to do it, but we didn't know that the governors had accepted. And in fact, I think it wasn't until shortly before this press conference that they had.
Did you show up with a check in your pocket?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Millen was ready to go.
Vancouver has to be proud to have a person like Millen there ready to step up to buy a franchise like this when, you know, there is people saying that it's not the thing to do these days, but we're going to make it the thing to do, and I know Millen will be proud that at least the deal's done and the BC Lions are here, and I'm looking forward to meeting him. I'm sure he's a great guy.
And so the biggest question in the history of the franchise has finally been answered. But it leaves a number of questions still unanswered, such as who will run this team and who will coach it. As football fans in this city have already learned, the only thing that never changes is change itself. David Pratt, TSN, Vancouver.
A new owner in BC, a new coach in Toronto. Lots to be excited about in the CFL. And the CFL report returns to Commonwealth Stadium after these messages. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the CFL Report from Commonwealth Stadium, where the Eskimos and Ticats will hook up in just a few moments' time in a rivalry that goes a long way back. In fact, for a time, Hamilton was the only team in the CFL that had a winning record against the Edmonton Eskimos. And the last time they met was at Ivor Stadium. Edmonton pulled one out in the dying seconds. They had to get 2 on a convert to win it, but the Eskimos did it. And now it's the rematch, the Ticats and the Eskimos. The kickoff is just around the corner here on TSN. The CFL Report on TSN has been brought to you by Pepsi. Gotta have it.